Now let's see how the 400 units housing project deals with sustainability in terms of materiality. The design required careful considerations to ensure suitability for the hot desert climate and the local context. The departure point for the architects was to make use of vernacular ways of building, including local materials and construction techniques. Until the early 1970s, most houses in the region were made with tufla, along with local limestone and gypsum. Tufla is a kind of desert mud that can be shaped into bricks of varying dimensions. Not only the walls, but also the roofs of dwellings were constructed with these bricks in the shape of domes or vaults. Maybe you wonder, how is there mud in the desert? Well, since Wet Suf is watered by an underground river, this not only enabled date palm cultivation by the first inhabitants of the region, but also the rare use of brick construction for housing, which is not familiar in desert areas. Because of the challenging environmental conditions of the region, with sandstorms called the Khamsin and the threat of earthquakes, the architects of the 400 units housing project chose for a mix of modern and vernacular construction techniques. Let us explain some important features of the project. The building of each cluster started with the construction of a durable, reinforced concrete skeleton with column beams and floors placed in a square grid. The basic infill material for both interior and exterior walls of the dwellings is 25 centimeter thick cement brick, known for its durability and stability. In the middle of the grid, concrete staircases were placed to be able to reach all the floors. The prevalent use of arches and arcades on the ground floor of many traditional buildings in the El Wed region is clear indication for the need of shaded open spaces around the house. The architects applied this local concept into multi-story clusters by covering open staircases with vaults of concrete and including arcaded entrances. To create comfort during summer heat, the architects created an urban fabric with densely shaded areas. By putting the clusters close to each other and integrating projecting rooms on the upper floors, a maximum of shade was created in the streets between the clusters. Moreover, this smart staggering of masses also provides a considerable amount of shade on the exterior walls. To prevent rising temperatures inside of the dwellings, the facades of the apartment blocks only have small windows. To allow for cross ventilation, these openings have a strategic position in the facades, patio walls, and voids next to the staircases. Where larger openings were needed, they are covered with perforated gypsum screens with traditional patterns. These screens keep out direct sunlight and ensure privacy, but still allow for ventilation. The local tufla bricks were also used to construct the walls on top of the concrete roofs and domes constructed with tufla. Replace the concrete roofing above the guest room of the dwellings. In fact, the tufla walls are one of the most striking features of the project. They are open from both sides to allow for cross ventilation, thereby achieving natural cooling of the ceilings of the upper floor dwellings. The interior walls of the dwellings are decorated with painted plaster for a smooth finish, but the exterior walls are covered with a blend of fire gypsum and yellow sand with a rugged lime texture. The robust textured plaster is not only aesthetically pleasant, but is also serving to mitigate heat absorption of the facades, particularly during the sun's peak position, offering a shaded relief during the hottest hours. The use of rough plaster applicated with date palm reaches is local technique that can also be found in other desert regions, for example in the Emsab Valley of Algeria. To this date, the complex appears to have survived well in the face of harsh climate, but unfortunately, limited maintenance was provided. Although some attempts have been made by individual inhabitants to maintain the quality of their units, some damage has occurred due to improper maintenance and illegal modifications. The project was realized as a result of collaborative efforts between the architects and local authorities. Furthermore, the labor force for construction consisted entirely of local workers from the region. Overall, the incorporation of traditional climate control techniques, local materials, and construction techniques combined with a modern, durable construction system, paved the way for developing new aesthetic standards for public housing schemes in the region and has resulted in a visually appealing residential environment.